Hey everyone, so in this video I'm going to be going over my turn 1 5-star attack team as well as my defense team, but before we get into it, please don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel for more content and information. So I just want to say that there are lots of different types of turn 1 attack teams in the 5-star era, and it's kind of up to you based on what tunes you have, where you try to fit in what tunes will work under what circumstances, and a lot of that can also be trial and error. But for instance, I found the most success using 8% AP weapons, as well as the 20% AP to self on my yellow tune, which is Sandy in this case. Command tunes are also very important in my opinion because you're able to get that turn 1 attack off by using a commander which gives a tune an extra attack. So the leader of my team is the limited edition Negan, but there are other tunes that can fill in this position that have that plus 30% attack, as well as a very large bonus to AP when attacking. The very large bonus to AP when attacking gives plus 8 AP, so with a lot of these 5-star tunes, they don't need a lot of AP in order to rush, but having this very large bonus at the start will help your tune with accomplishing a rush on the first turn with a commander, or under specific circumstances where you can utilize unnatural AP gains. And with this Negan, him being my leader tune, I've given him a very defensive stun weapon. Now, the reasoning for this is because it has a huge bonus to AP when attacking, so that's an additional plus 10 AP when he attacks, plus 40% defense helps him stay alive. The stun on attack is very important, but the most important part here is team player, which gives plus 15% attack to all adjacent teammates, which, with him being the leader tune, it's the 4 other tunes on the team. And the weapon also gives plus 35 crit points, so crit chance increases for all the tunes adjacent as well. So that actually works really well with collateral damage Sandy as well. Another tune on my team is Victor. Now some people prefer Kate because she gives plus 50% attack and focus to the team. But I kind of like Victor a lot just because his AP is a bit lower at 44 AP, so he's very fast. He deals a bit of damage to everyone on the opponent's team while doing minus 50% defense for 3 turns. So as long as I attack the center tune with this rush, everyone gets their defense cut in half, which is stronger than giving all your attackers 50% more attack. So Victor uses an 8% AP weapon to all teammates and self at the beginning of the wave. So with 44 AP, this actually gives him 4 AP to start the match. So considering he only needs 40 AP after that, and running a Negan lead as well as the huge bonus to AP when attacking, I'm only 2 AP short of him being able to rush on the first turn with a command tune. So an easy way to get by that is by adding an additional 8% AP weapon. And based on this team that I run, I use an additional 8% AP weapon on my command Maggie. Now, this Maggie is only a tier 1 level 9 tune because I don't really need her to attack or do anything else except command on the first turn, and because in the 5-star arena you cannot use duplicate tunes, I have to make sure that I use, well, this yellow Maggie for example, or there's another yellow command Maggie, yellow command Brianna is another example. I just need a tune that can hold an 8% AP weapon so that my team can rush on the first turn as required. Like, certain tunes have a specific component to a team, and they only need to fulfill one specific role. And in this case, I just needed a commander that could hold this 8% AP weapon so that Victor could rush on the first turn as well as my Sandy. So as you can kind of gather, you know, some tunes don't really need to be fully leveled for them to be effective in a team setting, especially when you're going for a turn 1 attack team. Like Victor's maxed out, my Heath is maxed out, but to be honest, he doesn't have to be maxed out either. He, although has a great attack buff as well as defense buff, along with a fast rush, I only need him to command on my team. Now, if I had another yellow tune that I could use as a commander, I would probably use that instead, just to have that additional 8% AP weapon, because I could probably change the weapon that I'm currently running on my Sandy. But having a green tune is also pretty effective if I do need to stun an opponent if a match goes on for longer than a single turn, which it sometimes can based on what the defense is running. So now we've gone over the leader, as well as the 2 command tunes, as well as my defense down specialist. Now we're going on to Sandy, who's my big hitter, who's going to be doing all the damage that I need. So she can be actually subbed out for Sean as a 5-star, or Alpha, or there's a Yellow Jesus or a Yellow Rick that can also work in this position. There are just a number of different tunes that can be used here, and it's all based on utilizing AP gains and understanding how much AP a tune needs and how they're going to get that AP. So Sandy is a very fast tune. She only needs 44 AP. She can deal 350% damage to one enemy and all enemies adjacent to her, just like how Victor does, but she deals a lot more damage than Victor. She has 2,657 attack with her weapon as well as her mod combination. I mentioned this before, her collateral damage specialist skill can be pretty effective because whenever she performs a critical attack, she deals 50% damage to up to 2 adjacent enemies. So this can really help with taking out a team, especially if there are tunes that have tenacity, for example. So I find her to be a very effective tune to use, and I could use just a straight out attack weapon on her. At 44 AP, she just needs to attack once and have 2 8% AP weapons on the team so that she can be command rushed. But I've actually opted to use a 20% AP to self without any AP when attacking, and 40% attack because there's more attack on this weapon than on the 8% weapon that I have. And because of the amount that the 20% weapon gives her, which would be 9 AP plus the 8 other AP from the 2 8% weapons, which would give her a total of 17 AP to start, plus 20 for the base amount, which brings us up to 37 AP, and the very large bonus to AP when attacking from Negan is an additional 8, which gives us 45 AP, which is enough for Sandy to rush. Now, on defense, this is the team that I use. So I use Mercer as my lead because I had an extra one. So as a 5-star, he can stun up to 2 enemies on the defensive team at the start of the match, which is great for some RNG because it would cause the opponent to have some issues, because if one of their command tunes or their main damage dealer is stunned to start, it prevents them from having that first turn 1 attack. So I've basically made it more difficult for the attacking team to get maximum points off of my team. I've also added in 5-star Priya because she's a amazing tune with a stun weapon, so when being attacked she can stun the enemy. She also only needs 45 AP in order to rush, and on her rush she can confuse up to 3 enemies for 2 turns, which is really effective. She also has cutthroat, so if an enemy is under stun, confuse, taunt, impair, etc., she actually does 50% more damage to that enemy. I'm using Heath on this team because of that attack and defense buff that I spoke about before. He's also a commanding tune, and he can wield either an AP down weapon, so when being attacked he can drain the enemy of their AP, which I find to be very effective for him. Or I can go with a more offensive weapon with a stun weapon on attack. Now, the most interesting tune I think on my defensive team is actually Jeremiah, who prevents the enemy from getting any turn 1 kill on my team because of his Outlast ability. Currently, it is impossible to get a turn 1 kill if you have an Outlast tune on your 5-star team, because the Outlast tune will get an additional turn of being, quote, alive, end quote, which means it will always be at least 2 turns before the enemy can kill you. He's actually a tune that I picked up from the supply depot a couple weeks ago, and I haven't even leveled him. His only job is to make sure my team lasts longer than a single turn, which minimizes the amount of points that the enemy can get off of me. Finally, I rounded out this team with Indomitable Shiva. So she's the winter edition. She has Indomitable, so every time she's attacked, she gets extra defense. I put AP drain on her claws, so when she's attacked, she can actually drain the enemy of AP, kind of like Heath. On her rush, I think it's about 56 or 58 AP, and she's able to taunt multiple enemies for a single turn, which actually aids her in getting more AP in order to rush possibly the next turn as well, to provide more control. Overall, I think my defensive team is pretty strong, and the main goal of it, again, is to make sure that no one can turn 1 attack me. So now we're going to move into some film kind of my turn 1 attack team in old school mode, and just to show you guys how it's effective. So I'm just going to go through like a normal attack. So I'm going to attack the last 5 teams in this area in order to get the most amount of points. So I'm looking for a clear target, and when there isn't one, then I go based off of my mods. So Victor has an impair resist on him, so I know I can try attacking a blue toon, for instance, that has an impair weapon on them if there is no free target. And by a free target, I mean a toon that doesn't have a stun weapon or an AP drain weapon, absolute defense, or impair, as I mentioned before. So it's really about finding that hole in the defensive team. Like, a lot of people try to go for a team that actually allows them to rush early, but I don't think that's effective, especially when many people can turn one attack the defensive team anyway. Now, none of these teams here have been able to stop me only because they don't have an Outlast toon. Even a Tenacity toon can be pretty effective, as seen by the Kate on the previous team, but as long as I have a toon left to attack with at the end, so in that case it was Negan, I can finish off some teams, but sometimes I still don't have enough power to do so. So as you've seen, I'm able to use this team fairly effectively. All my attacks are very, very fast, so I end up finishing them off very quickly. This only brought me into 5th position, meaning that my other opponents must have matched against people who gave them more points. Overall, I'm fairly happy, and kind of going through my defense log, it shows that a lot of people skip me either because I'm running that Mercer lead and I have that Outlast toon, or I just don't give them enough points compared to other people that I might have been drawn with. So my main goal, again, is to limit the number of points my opponent can get off of me, and I think I do that effectively with my defensive team. So everyone, feel free to share in the comment section below what you use on attack as well as defense in old school mode. I'd be very interested to see if there's any other type of unique team that is used a lot out there. Like, this is kind of just what I use, and it might not work for you, but I find it to be fairly effective. So thank you everyone for watching and listening to my video.